During your travels through the remains of ancient Thailand, you will often see such terms as Khmer Empire, Ayuttayah, Sukhothai, Lanna, all of which have been tremendously influential cultures throughout the country's history. However, a fascinatingly enigmatic culture, long predating all of them, laid the groundwork for the cultural melting pot that became modern-day Thailand, sometimes known as the Hmong Kingdoms. This place was called Dvaravati, or Dvaravati for short. When you start to delve and dig a little deeper, what emerges is a simply fascinating Southeast Asian game of thrones, with kingdoms, empires, political entities, chiefdoms dominating Southeast Asian history. I'm here at the oldest place of all, Si Thep Historical Park, occupied since the 3rd to 5th centuries. I'll give you a good breakdown and a bit of history as well. In 2019, Thailand applied to make this a World Heritage Site. And in 2023, the World Heritage Committee acquiesced and awarded this site, Si Thep Historical Park and Dvaravati Monuments, the status of World Heritage Site. The first since 1992, Ban Chiang. Thailand now has 4 World Heritage Sites: Ayuttayah, Sukhothai, Ban Chiang, and now Si Thep Historical Park. And this place is absolutely incredible. Look. From the 3rd to the 5th centuries, this place had an Indianized culture, and there were burials and offerings to Hindu gods. Now, in the early days, it was Vishnu who was worshipped as the supreme god of all gods. For about 200 or 300 years. It wasn't until then we had the Buddhist period, and it wasn't until about 700 years later that Shiva became to be worshipped again through the Khmer Empire. But this place is Dvaravati. This place predates everything we've seen this week. It predates Angkor Wat, it predates Khmer Historical Park, it predates everywhere that you know in Thailand. You see these signs absolutely everywhere, no climbing on the monuments. That's because last year, when this was awarded World Heritage status, I think in October, and the whole of Thailand flooded here. They were all climbing all over the monuments, up and down the stairs and everything. And up until 6 months ago, you could do that. You could drive around here and you could climb up on these. You could go up all the stairs, climb the pyramid and everything else. But they've had to put a stop to this. It went from 300 visitors a day to 7,000. So I got here early today and it's not too bad. Let's have a look. By the way, both of those prangs you can see there, the Khmer, one is 10th to 11th century and the other one is 10th to 12th century. And they were built on top of existing Dvaravati structures. So much emphasis has been placed on the Khmer Empire. All else appears forgotten. Well, in today's video, I'm going to tell you about that forgotten time from about the 3rd century to the 13th century. I'm going to tell you about the place that not only shaped Thailand as it is today, but the whole of Southeast Asia. However, that thing over there, Khao Klang Nai, that incredible edifice, the stucco work apparently covered the whole structure. Human-headed, animal-headed, some real bizarre stuff there. Can you imagine what that may have looked like? Before I get into any of that and show you the pyramids and things that literally, as of today, are rewriting Thai and Southeast Asian history, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the day, getting in, location of this place, what it looks like, because this place has got a vibe all on its own. It's different. So the first thing we do is get on this bus. Look, it's 100 baht to get in, it's 50 baht for the car, and we got on one of these little buses. Look, it's free. You can walk. But I'm going to have a ride around on this bus first and then we'll take it from there.
แล้วก็พอรับศาสนาเข้ามาค่ะศาสนาแรกเนี่ยก็จะเป็นศาสนาพุทธนะคะมีการเถรวาทค่ะเกิดการสร้างศาสนสถานขึ้นมาแห่งแรกก็คือเขาคางในนะคะที่อยู่ภายในเมืองค่ะซึ่งถ้าเกิดมองไปด้านนู้นค่ะเขาคางในวัฒนธรรมทวารวดีนะคะตอนที่มีการสร้างเมืองเนี่ยเขาก็จะมีการขุดน้ำนะคะล้อมรอบขึ้นมาเป็น
ปักทุ่งช่องนี้ที่ไม่มีทูบ
Gotta show some respect, right? What is the ancient town of Dvaravati and its associated monuments? 1. An inner town and an outer town. 2. An ancient pyramid-shaped structure outside of town. 3. A cave in a mountain nearby. The culture of Dvaravati was based around moated cities, often round or egg-shaped. Key sites, as you can see from this map, included places such as Kubur, Nakhon Pathom, Phetchaburi, Nakhon Chasi, Utong, ancient city, Kampeng Sen, Chan Sen, Mung Sema, which was the sister town of Si Thep, and even Puprabat right up in the north. An Indian map places the Mon, Thai and Khmer all together in roughly the same area in about the year 500.
ไม่ได้เป็นการสร้างเมืองแล้วก็อพยพคนเข้ามาในเมือง
There is a 1988 excavation pit, but I'm not going to go in everywhere, you know me. I'd rather have a really quick wander around here, look. And this place is set over a really big area as well. I'll do a little voiceover, but as you can see, look, it goes on for acres and acres. To give you a clearer understanding of what was going on back then, I just want you to have a quick look at this map. Now, the coastline was very, very different 1500 years ago. Bangkok wasn't there, as you can see. Phetchaburi was a seaport, as was Ratchaburi. They've found remnants of seagoing vessels in Nakhon Pathom and a couple of canals which connected to the sea, which suggest, and Roman coins, which suggest that was a trading port. As you can see here, even Lopburi wasn't too far from the ocean.
เหลือสีเขียวเหนียวซับครับสีโค้กแล้วก็โค้กหวานเจี๊ยบมีลายการ์ตูนนะครับแล้วก็สีใครชอบทานลีโอเนาะผมชอบลีโอเหลือเกินนะสวยมากเลยครับลีโอวันนี้ลายเสือเต็มเลยครับลีโอนะครับถ้าสนใจ
Look, one school of thought for history in this entire area has been pushed upon you. Today, I'm going to merely give you an alternative. And that is what I'm trying to avoid, too many people. So we'll go the opposite way. Very good. Getting some good photos there, look. Hey, dogfight, dogfight. I have to have a proper look at this place, look. It's like something out of a movie, isn't it? Chà, nóng nha. Đi. Không. Wow, look at that place, and like I said, people were climbing all over that. This isn't even the famous pyramid, but it looks rather Mayan, doesn't it? Mayan, whatever you want to call it, look. We're going the opposite way to everyone as usual. In my research, I did read one account that about 120 years ago, this structure and the far, far bigger pyramid-like structure outside of town were both covered in a big, large mound of mud. Let's take you, it's very, very old, so let's take you to some of the bits that are still there. Look.
Still quite a few bits of the original carving on the bottom there, look. I'm in heaven here. That used to be a bar somewhere 25 years ago, or a club or something like that. Not anymore. This is brilliant. I feel good. I knew that I would now. So good, so good. I'm feeling good. There you go. What was on top of there? How far did that go up? Was that a pyramid to resemble the shape of that mountain we saw yesterday? And I'll show you it again now. Okay, let's have a closer look at this place, a little bit that's been protected, some of the carving and the stonework, look. Look at that. That bit right there, look.
Until relatively recently, it was thought that the Dvaravati Empire was centred in Nakhon Pathom, which, believe it or not, was connected to the sea, like I said before. Some also thought or still think it was Utong ancient city, and indeed there's some suggestions in Utong that things could go back as far as the 3rd century.
สวยนะ
สวยค่ะเป็นดอกมันชัดอยู่เลยเห็นปะ
Look at that. Look at that. It's incredible, look. A lot of the original facade is still there from, well, they say 15 to 1700 years ago. What empire are all these carvings from? We'll look into it right now.
Sometimes a fresh, even iconoclastic approach is needed. Step forward, Dr. Piriya Kraikrush. Forgive my pronunciation. He's a scholar, author and a legendary Thai arts historian. For a long time he believed that Nakhon Pathom was the centre of the Dvaravati culture. He wrote many books and papers on that fact. However, in 2016, after more than 50 years of study on the Dvaravati kingdom and art research, he concluded that Si Thep was the centre of the Dvaravati kingdom, as there was much older stuff there. He said 1400 years ago, Si Thep was Dvaravati. It's been speculated it was a succeeding state to Tun Sun, which was a group of 5 ancient Mon political entities stretching from Nakhon Pathom in modern-day Thailand right down to Pattani, which was then called Panpan. And they say that Tun Sun had over 1,000 Brahmin priests there. The 5 major centres at that time in Tun Sun, now we're going back to about the 1st century. Nakhon Pathom, Ratchaburi, Mung Sing, Phetchaburi and Tanintari, something like that in Burma. And Tun Sun also matches completely with the legendary state of Savanabhum, the Golden Land. When King Ashoka came to Thailand first, in probably around about the year Jesus was born, something like that, he travelled to the Golden Land. Some say he came because there was a golden city covered in gold and he was lured by the riches. In reality, Savanapum, a city of gold, probably refers to the land, as in a lot of rain, a lot of nutrients, a lot of sun. You plant something, it grows really quickly. Anyway, so that first wave, King Ashoka, he brought Buddhism. Soon thereafter, came an Indianization. Now, was it the Gupta Empire from the north? Was it the Tamils from the south? Was it the Si Vijaya Empire? Historically, Dvaravati was important as a transmitter of Indian culture. With an early history of commercial and cultural contact with India, the Mon assumed the role of disseminators of Indian culture, particularly art, writing, religious terminology, sculpture, scholarship, law, government forms, and they became teachers of their conquerors, the Burmese and the Khmer. I've seen some texts describing these as chubby little dwarfs wearing big earrings, but I'm pretty sure they're yaksha. I know modern yaksha now, you're going to think of the giant yak, and he looks nothing like this, but this, in the ancient mythology of India, is a class of generally benevolent, but sometimes mischievous, capricious, sexually rapacious, or even murderous nature spirits, who are the custodians of treasures that are hidden in the earth and in the roots of trees. This fella, Kubra, in Hindu mythology, is the king of the yakshas, the nature spirits, and the god of wealth. He is associated with the earth, mountains, all treasures such as minerals and jewels that lie underground, and riches in general. According to most accounts, he first lived in Sri Lanka, but his palace was taken away from him by his half-brother Ravana, and he now resides in a beautiful mountain residence near the god Shiva's home on Mount Kalisa, where he is attended by all manner of demigods. I live for this shit.
What a load of nonsense that was. I don't live for it. But I do like it. Here on the chair is what that depicts. Look. Look, it's him.
I know one thing, and perhaps you could correct me. I've never seen any depictions or stucco work like this in Thailand. I know there's a very similar structure down in Kubua, just near Ratchaburi, but I don't believe it has this kind of work on it. Please do correct me if I'm wrong, and please correct me if I'm wrong if these aren't yakshas, but I'm pretty certain they are.
(1904, 1935, 2023). If you want to know where some of the best stuff is, it used to be in private collections. A load of it was found in Jim Thompson's house in 1960 odd, or the 60s. And a lot of it is in the National Museum of Bangkok. Yimdina La.
Thank you.
Let's go and have another look over here. This is brilliant. And they're all going to go, and I'm going to go over there and hide behind a tree.
I do wonder if they've actually dug round here. Surely, if you dig a metre, 2 metres, 3 metres all round here, you're going to find all sorts of stuff. I'm sure they have, but that maybe went a lot deeper. But I think they're saying there was a stupa on top of that, and it was a giant stupa, but I'm not so sure. As usual, I'm wandering off. I've been doing that since I was little. I think I got lost once when I was a little kid. Don't know how long for, you'll have to ask my mum, but I wandered off. I still do it now, look. And obviously the main 2 monuments are there, but just want to come over this bridge and get a feel of the actual place. I'm sure you know what I mean. There's loads of old buildings. This town, the inner town and the outer town, were really, really big. Loads of reservoirs, loads of buildings. Just go over here and just get a little feel for the place. Okay, lots of bird life, lots of flowers, loads of old stuff, and I'm sure most of this has never been excavated. It'd be great if it was. Yeah, let's have a quick look at this. I'm now going to conjure up a tale. It's not really a tale, I'm just going to let you know about a few of the empires that were here and kingdoms that were here way before the ones that you've heard about. I mean, everything comes from somewhere, right? And I'm going to attempt to tell you where. There are more than a few different theories on this, and I'll weave a couple together, and I'll let you come up with your own conclusions, but a lot of it is unexplored still. Look. at the start of the Dvaravati Empire, there was Funan to the east, later became Chenla, perhaps Lower and Upper Chenla, perhaps Water Chenla and Land Chenla. There was Champa further east, which is now Vietnam. There was possibly Wen Dan and others along the Mun River and the Mun Valley. Sister town of Sema, which was the state of Kanasapura. And to the west, there was Si Thep, which is modern-day Burma. Lavo, obviously directly to the east as well, Labor, which became the Lopburi Empire. To the south, again, Srivijaya, which was probably Malaysia, and that was a massive maritime empire and nation. And as I said before, possibly Tun Sun from Phetchaburi downwards. There was another Indianized kingdom, sort of more around Patani, I think it was called Panpan. There was Singanati in the north, Chinlin in Burma, there was Bagan. I could go on and on. The Game of Thrones was big in this part of the world. But look, everyone's gone. That's why I waited. The Dharma Chakra, I believe. The ancient Buddhist wheel. I'll show you in a minute. Let me just quickly look. Do you know what? It was found in Khao Klang Nok in 2015. There's so much stuff still a metre or two down. Look at this thing. I raised the question earlier about who on earth buys these kind of things. Me, that's who. Nobody on the first bus, nobody on the second bus bought this. They all looked, and do you know what? The local salary in the Si Thep area is 8,000 baht a month. That's less than 200 British pounds. This dude's not begging, he's making stuff. And as my mother-in-law always taught me, if someone's in the street or if anybody's making stuff or handicrafting stuff and you've got spare cash and it's nothing to you, then buy it, whether you need it or not. So I bought this for my 18-year-old son, probably about 15 years too late. But you know what? I'm going to hang it and enjoy it anyway. In an era of performative cruelty, being cruel for the sake of entertaining oneself or others, kindness is anarchy. Be an anarchist. And if you go for a wander, or indeed if you rent a bicycle, you can visit all the smaller places as well. Look, there's loads of places, and loads of places unexcavated as well. Look, another building over there, overtaken by the trees. Let's have a quick look over there. This is where wandering pays off, folks. Oh, this has got a totally different atmosphere and vibe to it. Really, totally different. I can't portray that through the camera, but again, I can hear lots of bird life, and no signs here saying do not climb. You know why? Because generally, as a rule, Thais don't wander like this. There are Thais that do, but most people who visit places like this aren't necessarily wanderers. Call me the wanderer, they call me wanderer. I wander round and round and round and round and round. Wank. Wow, and these trees are right in the, what would have been the main section, look. And again, I've not seen it written anywhere, but there's a lot of places here that if you look at it from the right angle, it's in a cross.
Was there once a religion that incorporated elements of Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, etc.? Was there once a religion? Eventually it broke off with different empires and different kingdoms. Just saying, could have been one religion, could have had a lot of things amalgamated together, including animism as well, because animism is very heavily practiced here. Because here we have elements of animism, Vishuism, Shivaism, Buddhism. Dirty great big cross right there. So it was Phetchaburi, Ratchaburi, Nakhon Pathom, Phetchaburi, Ratchaburi, Nakhon Pathom, Utong, Si Thep, Sema. Sure I'm forgetting something. But this is the era I think has been treated rather unfairly, the Dvaravati. I'm probably saying that wrong and I do apologise. I feel a lot of the stuff that we say or we put down as being simply as Khmer is a little bit too cut and dried for me. There's a lot of influence there, and there's a big suggestion that the Khmer or the start of the Angkorian Empire started by defeating somebody. I mean, the place is called Siam Reap, Siam defeated, but...
Let me be very clear here. We are talking about a history written by the French that cast the Siamese as a foreign race coming from somewhere else, the Thai from China. And it cast the Khmer as the rulers and the leaders and the builders of everything. Hence the rise in nationalistic propaganda from both sides. This is exactly what the French wanted. The cultural war still absolutely rages today, let me tell you. If there's any post about Khmer or Thai history anywhere on social media at all, the Thais and the Cambodians are at it like cats and dogs in the comments below. It can get really, really brutal. Like in most things in our current cultural existence today, people still follow the narrative, and there is almost a sectarian affiliation with it.
One man's mutiny is another man's revolution. During this period, how many times was the Bible rewritten? Is it history or is it his story? I've been here a long time. I'm not going to pretend I heard about this place 25 years ago and desperately wanted to come here. My interest in this kind of thing, modern history, ancient history, prehistory and that sort of thing, really only goes back, it goes back to my childhood, but I really got an interest for it again during the whole period, you know, the global lockdown and everything. So. But I love it now. I like to do a load of research before I come, but I often do voiceovers because it's difficult to remember it all. And I do want to give you the best information that I possibly can. And while I'm saying far-fetched things, let me suggest this. In a minute we're going to see what very much looks like a Mayan pyramid. I've suggested the mountain thing, but what if the next one was a pyramid? What if that, there's the back end, body, feet, could have gone down a lot further, missing a load. Interesting. Could that have been a lion or what these days they call a sphinx? But a lot of reference to Sing, like the Mung Sing. And anyway, I'm talking nonsense a little bit. I just like to put little ideas out there. My mind is a pretty deep one, so next buses have arrived. We'll have a look round that side if no one else goes there. We'll wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to show you what it's like with the people for a change. Everyone has a little tour guide. I like to research and read. To be fair, you can book one of those buses with an English-speaking guide. As long as you book a day before. I didn't know that, so my research isn't always brilliant, but yeah. you can do that again. It's quite a unique shape, and I do wonder how far they dug down as well.
I want to think for a minute about exactly why this place received World Heritage status. It was on the list and received World Heritage status for two main reasons. Number one, it represents interchanges among cultures, in this case traditions from India, and how they were adapted during the Dvaravati period. The Si Thep School of Arts went on thereafter to influence art and architecture all across the region. They say the cohabitation of Theravada and Mahayana Buddhism together with Hinduism is a distinctive characteristic of Dvaravati town planning, architecture and arts, and these are demonstrated in its three component parts, which are this place, Si Thep Historical Park, the inner and outer town, the next place we're going to go to, which is pretty much a giant pyramid, Khao Klang Nok, and the other one is a cave up that mountain that I showed you yesterday. Number two, the site bears testimony to the Dvaravati culture and civilization. What can I say to summarise the remarkable, once mythical sanctum of the Dvaravati that is Si Thep? I grew up on Indiana Jones, Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, The A-Team, The Goonies, The Famous Five, Tintin, David Attenborough, Tales of the Great British Victorian Explorers, all of which evoked a passion in me for the unknown, for discovery, adventure, mystery and intrigue. I could just let my imagination run wild. Now, I love places like Ayuttayah, Sukhothai, Pimai, Panamrung and all the rest, but Si Thep is different. The feelings this place elicit in me are of boyhood wonder and amazement. None of the other places make me think as much as this place. I think because the story still seems to be unravelling, and a lot of it will remain a mystery, and a lot has been lost to looters last century. A lot is in the USA, the UK, all over. I've read stories about people buying pieces way back in the 60s off a infamous character named Dougie the Dirt. Some of it was found at Jim Thompson's house, a lot's in a museum. But what is magical here is that there are still things to be found. That Wheel of Law we saw before wasn't dug up until 2015. The huge pyramid-like structure we're going to see in the next video was dug up pretty recently, and I have to say a lot of credit for that must go to local villagers who, unlike at some other sites, seem to have treated these monuments with reverence and great respect. I filmed this video at the end of a very long and tiring trip, and to be quite honest, I just didn't have the energy to drive to Tomarat Cave, go for a walk and go and see all that. There's a couple of other things that I do want to investigate around here really quite badly as well, so I'm going to be coming back here very soon. In the next video, the place is even more spectacular than this. It's the next part of this place of Si Thep, about 2 kilometres away from where we were in this video, is what can only be described as Thailand's Great Pyramid. Join us in the next video for that one. You don't want to miss it. This place seems to be giving Thais a great amount of pride, rightly so. I would say this though, in the end we're all human, more similar than different. The historians have divided the Khmer and the Thais, or the Siamese and the Cambodians, casting each other as villains. Now, Cambodia acquiesced to the French. They let the French in because they were probably terrified of being squashed by Vietnam and Thailand. You guys share a very similar Indianized Southeast Asian culture. Does it really matter who was influenced first? There's lots of Khmer who live in Thailand as Thai, for example. Your languages both derive from Bali Sanskrit, but did one copy the other? No, I don't think so. Whilst Funan and Chenla were being influenced, if you like, at the same time as here in Siam, there was a sharing of culture. Armies were risen, battles were had. The Khmer were in ascendancy for a while until the 1400s, when the Siamese routed them, never to get back to the grand old heights again. Did the ruling classes leave and return to where they came? Did Siam influence and change the Angkorian culture forever? Or was it the other way round? It will be an argument forevermore between the Thais and the Khmer, with each claiming superiority and dominance. Clearly, since France, it has not gone too well for Cambodia, to say the least, aside from getting their land back. whilst Thailand and its Brahmanistic, Buddhist, animistic culture has thrived and flourished without a colonial power pulling the strings. In terms of who was first, who influenced who, I'll say this. The land of Siam, or Suvarnabhumi, was, and still is, a cultural melting pot. Now, even the prior importance of some locations I rather suspect hasn't even been revealed yet. I think the veil or the cloak is still coming off. For example, the ancient town of Phetchaburi in central Thailand has its own school of art and everything that is separate from Ratanakosin, separate to Ayuttayah, Sukhothai, Dvaravati and all the rest, suggesting a previous level of importance. Personally, I rather suspect that Suvarnabhumi may have been located in Phetchaburi. Anyway, the chance to write or rewrite history is only really available to the victors, the winners, and Thailand regionally seems to be winning right now, perhaps making it the right time to assert the notion of the Dvaravati being heavily influenced by different Indianized cultures, which then spread out through Southeast Asia. This is an argument that will go on forever, no matter what is found over the next 10, 20, 30 years and whatever's dug out of the ground. This argument will continue and rage, unfortunately. I mean, it's very naive, but I would just say, can't we all just get along? Let's all go out and eat a plate of mango and sticky rice, have a chat, and get along. Peace.